Hi, everybody. Okay, I see you all coming in. That's so great. I love the technology when it's working properly. Oh, so wonderful. So I see you all coming in, so I'll give you just a moment. If this is your first time here, I'm Deborah Stengel, founder of Sedona Soul Adventures, and I'm just so excited to have you here with us today. It's an absolutely beautiful day in Sedona. From where I'm sitting, I can look out and see the mountains. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And I know we're going to have another absolutely fabulous masterclass. This is going to be a really, really wonderful one. So let's go ahead and get started and go ahead and just kind of settle in. And I want to invite you to take a deep breath. And then just release anything that's no longer serving you and just come into your body and just be here right now. Just be really, really present. So welcome to this masterclass. We're calling the masterclass Reinventing Yourself in this new age, because I believe we are all being called on to really become the best versions of ourselves right now and to figure out what that's going to take. So today is going to be absolutely amazing. It's entitled How to Move from Self-Defeating and Toxic Emotional Thinking to Become Empowered. And, you know, we all have self-defeating thinking sometimes. And the process that Sarah is going to take you through is absolutely, truly amazing and will really, really help every single one of you. So before we get started, I just want to say a couple of things. Yay, we reopened yesterday for our In Sedona retreats, as Arizona has been opening slowly and safely, and we are so excited. So one of the blessings for us is that we've always done private retreats, just with individuals and couples, never in groups, because we know after almost 20 years of doing this work that true transformation happens when we are addressing your particular needs and your particular issues. Because, you know, what brought you to this place is different than what brought someone else to where they are. And so what we know is that by discovering the blocks and the gunk that are causing you problems or holding you back, we're able to dig deep and move them out and bring you back into connection. So we always do our work one-on-one or two-on-one for couples retreats. So the whole group issue isn't a problem for us. Plus, we're still continuing to do our virtual retreats, and those have been absolutely incredible. The transformations that are happening are just absolutely amazing. So you can come to Sedona or of your home, because the other thing that we have discovered is that energy is energy, and my practitioners are just masters at moving energy. And so it doesn't matter whether you are in your living room or you're in their healing room, the transformation happens. And then one more thing, I want you to know that this week we started our Meeting the Masters interview series. And in that, each week I'm interviewing a new master. And this has been so much fun for me. And this week I interviewed John Gray, the world famous author who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, one of the most amazing books of all time. And he gave in that interview so much incredible information in a short period of time. It's like, 50 minutes or something like that, about saving your marriage or your relationship during these crazy times. And the work that he does is very much the work that we're doing in our couples retreats. So register for the series so that you have that, so that you can get in. And it's so interesting because we just posted that on Thursday. And I got an email from a woman on Friday, yesterday, and she said to me, Deborah, I don't know this woman. I've never spoken with her before. She said, Deborah, thank you so much for doing this series. She said, my husband refuses to do anything getting outside help to help with our marriage. And I started watching this, and he started watching it with me. And at the end of it, he said, "Oh my gosh, this is so great. I would listen to anything from this guy." And so she wrote me and she said, "I think I might have him to the point," because she wants to do a couples retreat with us. And I said, "This is the first step, just, getting him to open up about, that maybe it does help to get some outside help with this stuff. We can't do everything on our own." So I want to make sure that you know about the meeting at the Masters. And so now let's move into our masterclass. And like I said, I'm just so absolutely incredibly excited to have Sarah Galway on with us. Sarah was one of the people who back in the day, if you can imagine this, started life coaching as we know it in California back in the day. And she is still an amazing life coach and does that work with us with Sedona Soul Ventures. But the work that she does is absolutely, that is so transformational and so amazing, is what she's going to bring to you today. And so she is, I just can't say enough good things about Sarah. So many people have been helped by the work that she does because it is so completely transformational. So Sarah, I'm just going to welcome you and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Deborah. It's such a pleasure to be on this master series today. I love that we're doing that. And I think it's a great way to introduce people to a little sampling of what we as practitioners do here. And I have to say, it's such a privilege to work with all these practitioners. We're all on the retreats together, and it's very exciting to do that. And I just did a virtual retreat with a couple of days ago. And I have to say, it was the most amazing and powerful session. And it honestly felt like we were in the room together. It's the first time I had tried to do that. I was so impressed with the effects. So I'm so glad you're doing both of those so many people can join in here. So one of the processes I do for Sedona Soul Adventures is what we call the work. And it's been really a life-changing tool for me. And I'm so looking forward today to sharing that with you. I actually learned the work from getting my certification training with Byron Katie, who many of you may have heard of, who's a wonderful author and an international teacher in her own right. And I have to say that learning experience with her, I can remember that first day I met her. I was working as a therapist in Malibu, and I was used to the normal kind of therapy. And my first day when I met Byron Katie was a life changer for me. And that's why I'm so excited about bringing it to Sedona Soul Adventure and sharing it with everybody else. What I learned from her was probably one of the most important things I have ever learned. And that is our thinking shapes our world. It just does. And I discovered in that process, your thinking is either going to be your best friend or it's going to be your worst enemy. And the wonderful thing about the tool I learned from Byron Katie is it's like a genius of a tool that really is good at discerning whether my thoughts are serving me or working against me. And we all need to understand that because our thinking really does shape how we feel, how we respond in our life. So this wonderful process I'm going to show you today is very appropriate to our time. The last couple of months, we have gone through some major changes and challenges in our lives that we've not ever gone through before. And that can really trigger your emotional thoughts and feelings. And I noticed that when I'm under pressure, and I don't, especially the one thing my mind hates the most is the unknown. And let's just say we've gotten a good experience of that recently. And so what happens is when I feel unsafe and I have fearful thoughts come up for me, what I notice is that there's an emotion that comes up, and it can really attract what I would call intense emotions and toxic emotions that bring up fear and stress and self-doubt and all kinds of things, that even depression, and all kinds of things that completely shift our attention and our ability to respond in our best way to the circumstance at hand. So we're all kind of going through that right now. A lot of changes, they're happening every day. So I'm recognizing that most of you have gone through some upsetting or maybe painful experiences in the last couple of months or the last few weeks that take you out of your power. I don't do well when I feel unsafe. I can go into this, see if you can relate to this. I go into this thinking about, oh, something is wrong, and it it's somebody's fault. What happened? Who's to blame here? Something's happening, and I need to figure out what it is. And I go into a place where I lose my power. I lose my ability to think clearly. So I want to share this wonderful process called the work with you today, because I find it's a lifesaver for being able to just simply get your thoughts down on paper and to begin to examine and investigate them. And through this wonderful process called the work, you have a chance to really look at what you're thinking, see whether it's even true and whether it serves you or whether it doesn't. And most important thing is it turns you back around more quickly than anything I've ever used. It turns you right back around to a sense of self-empowerment, a sense of clarity. So all of a sudden you're back on track again. And now I have access to myself. I have access to my clear thinking, and I'm able to make choices and to react to things in a much, much better place. So to me, it's just a magical process. And so one of the things I want to do is I'm looking forward to being able to share the process and work with some of you online today. And in order to do that, I think you have pencil and paper. Is that right, Deborah? They have pencil and paper
Yes.
to work with. And this is what I'm going to suggest you do. Take one of those stressful thoughts that may have come to you over the last few days, the last few weeks, or maybe it's something that's happened in the past. And the way the work works is unique. The most important thing is you get your thinking down on paper. And when you do, you have a chance to really look at it much more clearly than if you're thinking and your mind's going in one direction and another direction. So you should get it down on paper. It gives you a chance to think about it. So I have a couple of statements that I'd like for you to write down about whatever it is that's stressing you right now. So the first one is, I want you to write down who or what circumstances is stressing you right now. And leave a little space so you can just fill it in. I'm really stressed out under the conditions I've been in. My relationship's not working. I can't think straight. My health is going out of chart, and I just feel hopeless. Anything that comes up for you that happens to be what's stressing you right now. And so write that down. Who or what circumstance is stressing me right now? And number two is, what about the situation would you like to be different than it is? In other words, what do you want to change about the situation? And just take a minute to write that down. And number three is, in order for you to be happy in that situation, what needs to happen? What are you wanting people to say, think, or do? that would help you come back to a place where you feel happy. So I'm only going to use those 3 questions today. There is a worksheet you can get on Byron Katie's site called byronkatie.com that has a whole list of questions and statements that you can ask yourself. But we don't have much time today, so we're going to work on these. So what I want you to do is, once you come up with the situation that you want to work with, and you've written down the questions, please raise your hand and you will be called on, and I will work with you and show you how this work actually works. And for those of you that I might not be working with personally at the moment, I'd say just take it in. We need to stop and just relax. A lot has happened for us in the last few weeks. And it's really important to be able to just stop, take it in, and get those thoughts down on paper so you can examine them and come back to a place where you're back in that clarity and that beautiful connection with yourself. We tend to leave ourselves when we're stressed. And when we do that, we lose our higher wisdom and our amazing ability to be able to see where to go and what to do. So this is a really important process to have, to be able to get us back into our balance and our harmony when we've lost it at the time that we're in. So I guess, Deborah, just as someone comes up with...
Okay, yes, we have Jolie. So Jolie, be sure to turn on your microphone and your video. There she is. There, hi.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Now, do you have your microphone on, Jolie?
Oh, yes, now I do.
There we go. Great, like, Jolie, hi.
Hi.
Where are you from, Jolie?
Miami Beach.
All right. I love it. We have people from all over the place. So
I've done your workshop. I've done your retreat. It was amazing.
I thought your name looked familiar. That's wonderful. That's great.
Yes, it was wonderful. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing what happens in just a few short days? It's
phenomenal.
It is.
It made such a difference for the time I'm going through now. I'm almost thinking, do I have a problem?
You know. I know. Isn't that amazing? I've gotten so many emails from people over the last month who have said to me, Deborah, I would have never been able to make it through this without having done my soul adventure, including people who have had deaths in their family and all of that. So it's been so amazing. So I'm so happy that that's true for you, Jolie.
Yes.
So good. Now you're going to get an extra shot of this from Sarah today. Perfect.
So, Jolie, have you ever done the work before?
I read her book, so but I didn't.
So you know a little bit about what the purpose of the work is. So tell me, what circumstance that might be stressing you out right now? Did you write one down?
Yes, the circumstance of the unknown of the whole world and the government.
Okay. Only that, right? Okay.
Yeah, only that. Just the whole world.
Okay, just the whole world. What's wrong with it? Okay. What is wrong with the world? Okay. And in this situation, where you have this thought about what is wrong right now, all the unknowns about the world and the government, what is it about this situation that you want to be different? How do you want it to change?
I want my freedom back. I want to be able to run my business the way I was running it before without having new bosses that I never had before.
That's a wonderful thing. I have to say, if there's one thing I can say that I love the most about this work is that it really did help me get my freedom back. It changed my life in that way. And so I'm really glad you brought that up. Okay, and so in order for you to be happy in this situation, what needs to happen for you?
The government needs to back off.
Okay.
I mean, they need to stay out of our business so much.
Let's start right there. Right in that very place. Honey, the government needs to back off in order for you to be happy. Is that true?
Well, I wouldn't say that because I'm definitely happy. I'm happy right now, but I'm stressed in this. And I guess the two can't coexist at the same time, but I go in and out. I'm happy. I love my life, but my whole job got taken away.
Well, let's just
So
take
in
it.
order for me to be happy, I would like my life back.
Okay, you'd like your life back. You'd like the government to be different. And so is it true? The government needs to be different. And the situation needs to be different for you to be at peace. Is that true?
Oh, I mean, I want to say no in the sense that then I'll never be happy because the government's not backing off. So,
Yeah, and so the next one is, can you absolutely know that that's true? That's what needs to happen in order for you to be happy.
that if I absolutely know it's true, that I can't be happy without the government backing off.
Mhm.
I can be happy with the government backing off, but a reoccurring thought that comes up is I'm really glad I'm just passing through this place.
Right, right. And so, but let's take a look at this just for a moment. When you have this thought, the government should be backing off. It should be, peaceful, and it should understand what I need. And I just want to feel that I have my life back. And it looks like the government's not necessarily knowing what's going on. There's the unknown that's happening there. You don't know what's going on. And how do you react when you have this thought that needs to change for you to be happy? How do you react? And when I say that, I'm talking about
Frazzled,
what emotions come
frazzled,
up? Okay.
stress, like
Okay.
all over the place, not together.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like disconnected, right, from yourself. Okay. So when you feel disconnected from yourself that way, what emotions come up for you? You feel rattled. And what else? What other emotions come up for you?
Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown.
Right.
What's next?
What's next? What could go wrong? What could happen? And what emotions come up and where do you feel them, hon, in your body? Because whenever
In my heart.
rattled, okay. So you're feeling rattled in your heart.
Like I feel it right now.
Right.
Right here.
Right, honey. Right there. Let's see, right there. So what else comes up for you? What other emotions come up for you? You feel rattled in your heart.
Stressed.
Okay, you feel stressed. And
well, I mean, from doing work my whole life, I know that in the end, the fear is homeless.
okay, sweetheart, you're going to be homeless. If this continues like this, it's possible that you could end up being homeless.
Right.
And what kind of emotion does that bring up for you?
Oof, that sucks.
That's right, sweetheart. I can just see it right there. Right there, sweetie. Brings up those tears. Yeah, where are those tears coming from? That fear. That fear that you could end up in the long run being homeless.
Mm-hmm.
What else? There's that fear, there's that rattleness. Is there anything else that comes up for you when you have this thought? The worst that could happen is I'm going to end up homeless.
I mean, I don't think there's worse for me than that.
Okay,
That's the bottom of the barrel for me.
So Jolie, it is that cocktail. It's a cocktail that gets set up inside. We feel rattled, we feel stressed, we feel the tears come up. I could be homeless. Are those feelings stressful or are they peaceful?
Definitely not peaceful.
Yes, they're stressful, aren't they, hon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and I have a big staff, so I take care of a lot of people, so it's the worry of the people I take care of.
Right. So when you're experiencing that stress and you know that it's there, what do you do to try and what do you do? What do you find that you do when you're feeling that kind of stress? There are different ways that people react.
Well, I surrender that it'll pass. I mean, I surrender that it'll pass and it'll go away. And then I start going to action of what I'm going to create, what I'm creating, like what I'm going to do. And I get to work. So I am creating other stuff. There's definitely a silver lining to all this in the creation of what I'm creating. It just doesn't get rid of the fear, though, that I hate the people running the world.
Well, let's take a look at that for a minute.
Yeah.
You hate the people that are running the world. And the people, you also mentioned something about the business, right?
That I worry about my staff.
That you worry about your staff. And so let's take a look for a moment. What is it you cannot do? What is it you can't do when you
change the government?
Right. Well, that's one thing. You can't change the government. And can you know that you can even not change the government?
Can I? You said, can I know that I can't change the government? I know I can't change the government. I mean, I'm hoping collectively and consciously we can. I believe good prevails. It's not fun watching.
Well, I'll tell you what I notice is I can't change the government. Well, I can maybe do some things. I can vote. There are a few things I can do. But one of the things that I need to do is change the government in my head. There's a government that's out there and there's a government that's in my head. And the one that's in my head is definitely stressing me out every time I think about it, right? Up comes that feeling of anxiety and that stress, and I feel hopeless when I get there, right? And so let's take a look at what would happen. Who would you be if you could not get yourself stressed out about what's going on with the government, to allow your life to be more peaceful and more in balance?
I'd be the way I am when I'm not stressed, feeling like safe and supported, which I got out of the Sedona workshop, which was great. And I do feel safe and supported, but being that we're doing this workshop in moments and way more now in the last 2 months, thank God for the Sedona retreat, though, it would have been way more. I feel the stress. So when I'm not feeling the stress, I feel free and happy and I'll figure this out and I can do this and I always figure it out and I always find a way. And then all the positivity comes rolling in when I'm in a good state. So I work on just surrendering, I think, to the stressful state when I'm fearing of being homeless.
Right. And so this is why this is so important, is that I need to stop and I need to take a look. I'm wanting the world to change so that I can be peaceful. Right? If the world would just change, then I could be at peace.
I wouldn't make a statement like that. I don't think. Maybe I did, but then I'd go, that's a little stupid because then I'll never be happy. So I would get clear that I won't be happy if I was making statements like that. But when I'm stressed, I make crazy statements like the world sucks, the government sucks.
No, and then I'm waiting for the government. I can come back to peace. I can be at peace with myself if the government would just change. If life would just be different, I could feel peace again. So, sweetie.
Or if I find a way out of getting like the vaccines are freaking me, all that freaks me out. The vaccine, I'm like ready to hide in a hole. I'm not, yeah.
Yeah, and how does that serve you, sweetie?
Hiding in a hole's not great.
No, it's very hard to get into a place where you feel your power again. See what's happening. All those thoughts begin to disempower us piece by piece. Those old beliefs that I'm not going to be able to take care of myself. All of those thoughts begin to come up. And one by one, I just watch my body. When I feel unsafe and all those thoughts come up like, oh my gosh, this is unfair and that's not right. What happens is I go through this whole physiological thing as you were looking at. Look at the emotions that come up. And every one of those emotions that's matching the thoughts that I'm feeling is disempowering, right? And so that's when I stop and I take a look at what am I not able to do? What are you not able to do when you're in that state, Julie?
Nothing.
What are
Nothing.
Well, what are you not able to do to get yourself into a place where you feel safe and you feel stable?
Well, when I'm like complaining and crazy in my head, all these things sound so rational, but when I'm not rational, I don't apply the rational thoughts because I'm irrational.
Right.
I don't think like, let me just look at my body. I don't look to think calm because I'm busy bitching.
Well, that's why the work is so important. If I don't get my thoughts down on paper, they run away with me. My good judgment goes out the window. My clarity goes out the window. And those are my beautiful red flags that are letting me know I need to do the work. I need to get those thoughts stopped. I need to get them down on paper. I need to look and see, first of all, I'll ask, is it true? You know, the world needs to change so I feel better right now. If that relationship were just better, then I would be fine. So I get those thoughts down on paper so I can at least look at them and then I can examine them. I cannot change what I cannot see. And that's one of the most important things. And I need to get my adult back here because I go into that, that child that's afraid. We just get flipped back into a place that from the past where we have felt like we were in danger and our emotional mind just goes right back into reproducing that state. And so I'm the manager of my thinking. And since my thinking is the manager of my emotions, and my emotions are the manager of my actions and my power and what I'm connected to and my ability, then it's really important to get my thoughts down on paper, take a look and start examining them. And notice that the minute I have those thoughts and I have these reactions, it's a cocktail in my body. All of a sudden, I go out of being able to be resourceful, have access to my potential. I mean, I've got situations I need to find answers to here. And I disable myself. I go into this disempowered state. But the beautiful thing about the work, and I learned that, and that's why I often use it as the foundation for the counseling and coaching I do, is if I don't have a mind that's clear and working for me instead of against me, it's going to affect everything I do. It's going to affect my relationships. It's going to affect how I parent, how I am at work, everything. I'm the manager of my thinking.
I feel like that. And then I go out, I feel like that. I feel I'm the manager, I'm all that. And then I go out and then someone runs up and put a mask on or they get in your spin, then I derail again.
That's right. And that, we all are doing that. This is new to us. We've never had to, and I saw it, the mind is not like the unknown. And that's when it really throws up all those fears. It does not like the unknown. So it starts to think, what could go wrong? Not what could go right. It'll go to what could go wrong.
Well, I'm being told to do things that I feel are against what's healthy for me. So I'm having to do what I would never do for my health. I have to do it now and I'm forced to do it. So it's like a lack of freedom. It's just, when you don't want to do it and you're a grown up and you have to do it anyway, it's like, I don't want to follow the rules. So I'm getting very belligerent about it.
Yeah. And so what happens when you get belligerent about it?
Terrible. I'm not winning. I mean, it's like terrible.
You're working against yourself. And that's why, Jolie, you've been here to Sedona. You've seen what it's like to be in touch with yourself. That's so
I'm coming this week.
And good. Fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Yeah. And so, you've got an opportunity. I get those thoughts down on paper because if I don't, they are running me.
I think that's a great idea. to just
I-
stop and write.
Well, sweetheart, you know what happens? When we get stressed out like that and all those emotions come up, we abandon ourselves. And we abandon our inner wisdom. And that is what is available to us for guiding us in a direction that is the most appropriate. I may not be able to change my circumstances, but I can access that higher level of thinking and understanding in me that does know how to provide the best response to what's in front of me at the moment. It does know that. And that's why I need to be able to turn it around. So, sweetheart, let's look at this. We'll pick up the one on the government. What is it that stresses you out the most? You mentioned the government. What is it that stresses?
Well, being the vaccine, being told to do something that I don't want to do. Well, the mask stressed me out the most, and the vaccine stressed me out the most because I don't want either. They really actually stress me out more than the economy, actually, because it's just two things I don't want to do. So I feel like I'm being forced to do. I am being forced. I don't even feel. I know I'm being forced to do things I don't want to do.
Okay, now let's turn it around. I'm going to have you turn this around back to yourself. And I want you to turn just the opposite around. You're saying that you're stressed because you're being told what to do. Turn it around. I'm not. I'm not stressed because I'm being told what to do.
Because I'm being told what to do.
Now, give me some reasons why that could be just as true. Tell me how there's some ways that you're not being stressed.
Because I'm being told what to do?
Yes. Yeah.
I can't find one good thing about the mask.
Well, I've got one for you.
Okay.
I'm going to go out into public, right? And there are going to be people who are breathing around me. And one of the things I'm going to do to lower my stress is put on my mask. And I'm not doing it because somebody told me to do it. I'm doing it because I'm smart. I know how to protect myself. And it makes a lot of sense to me. And that way I'm not taking any chances. And I feel a lot safer that way. And maybe it doesn't do a darn thing, but I'm going to go for what I feel makes me the safest. Does that make sense?
But what if I don't feel that? Like every time I put the mask, I feel like it makes me unsafe. I don't like it. I feel like I'm inhaling my carbon dioxide. I don't like it. It's constricting. And really, I'm in health for a living. So I've been working on my health my whole life. So now I have to like compromise my health because of the government. To me, it's compromising. I want to breathe the air. I want to go outside and breathe. I want to have.
Well, sweetheart, you can. I mean, nobody's going to stop you from doing that. You can go outside and you can breathe the air. You can do all of that. That's something else you can do to keep yourself from being stressed.
Well, in our business, we have to wear a mask now. So when you go to work, you have to wear a mask all day.
Okay, so you're not wanting to be stressed by having to do something you don't want to do. And so where's your stress coming from, sweetie?
Well, myself being, bratty, I guess, but
Yeah, well, honey, you're arguing with reality. This is the reality, and I'm arguing with it. And I'm upset that they are telling me what to do. And what I'm missing is that I'm upsetting myself in the name of what they're doing. I lose my freedom. I abandon myself. I'm upsetting myself because I don't like what they're doing. How many times we do this? Somebody says something to us, somebody does something, and what do? We turn around and hurt ourselves in the name of what they're doing. And I have to question, who's hurting me right now? I may not have any control over them, but who's hurting me right now? This one here, I have some control over. Those out there, maybe not so much.
I don't know. I guess I fear the vaccine. I mean, it's stupid to get ahead of myself because I feel like I'll definitely find a loophole, but just the control of thinking of getting injected with something I don't want is
Well, sweetheart,
obviously, you see, stressful.
yeah, because, okay, so let's look and see. Who would you be without the thought that, let's see, who would you be without the thought that you don't have any control over this? And that you have to do whatever is being expected of you here? Who would you be without the thought that you have to do that? It's stressing you out. Who would you be if you didn't even have
My
to
staff, they're like living in gratitude. They're all like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm like, how are you so like that? So my staff, I look at them like, wow.
So
I guess gratitude for what I do have.
yeah, that's a thought. That's a thought. How would that be helpful?
It's great. Gratitude always gets me out. Sometimes I don't think of it. It's almost like a payoff when I'm pissed off. It's like I almost want to enjoy it a little bit. And once I get to gratitude, yeah, then I'm like, duh, why didn't I do that earlier?
Well, sweetheart, because you've been arguing with reality. You've been arguing with what is. And as you argue with what is, it upsets you. We can see, we've talked about how the emotions come up. When you argue with reality, it hurts. You're in the health profession, and you know it upsets our sense of well-being. If I'm going to argue with reality, I'm going to lose every time. Katie said that so many times. You go to war with reality, you lose only every time. So if I accept reality for what it is, this is what it is right now. And I can either argue with it and upset myself, or I can stop for a moment and look at, okay, this is the search. This is what is. This is the what is. What's my best shot at responding to what is without upsetting myself in the name of a circumstance I don't have any control over? Do you see what I'm saying? I think that's when I was working with Katie. I felt like I had taken initiation into my adulthood, the adult that can be responsible for my own thinking, that I finally realized that my life is not, I go into victimhood, and this is what happens to us. We go into victimhood. I'm the victim of what they're telling me to do. I'm the victim here, and I'm upsetting myself, putting myself through so much stress, and forgetting that I'm the manager of my state of mind. And if the work can help me come back to the fact, back to myself, and back to the recognition of who I am without the stressful thoughts that I'm bringing up over and over again. I don't like this. I don't want to do it. As if that was going to bring me freedom, honey. You want freedom. Where are you going to get that freedom? All right.
It's almost like I get bratty and then it
You
settles
get bratty,
down.
honey. You get bratty, you get defiant, and you lose your freedom and you blame it on the government. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm.
And so as managers of our thinking and our emotions and everything else, our thinking shapes our world. And if I'm in a world that is feeling stressed out and I'm in an argument with and I'm going to war with, and I'm complaining about it not being fair and upsetting myself, I need to look at where that comes from. There's only one person I have control over. So I don't need to change the world. I don't need to change my circumstances. It's not about my mask, right? What's it about, sweetheart? Where do you get your freedom?
I just feel like knowing doesn't make a difference. Like I know in theory, and then knowing doesn't make a difference because I feel like number one, there's a payoff. I obviously enjoy it sometimes because I'm doing it. I'm keeping it around. And then I have the story that I need it to feel good because I wouldn't feel good if I didn't have bad. So I just sometimes surrender to it. And that's why I say the law of average. I am happy, but it is a stressful situation. It would be nice if I didn't want that payoff. Of course, I would. Why do I keep it around? And then I say, knowing doesn't make a difference. So,
Well, sweetheart, I hear you want your freedom. I heard that. And that's what I always want whenever I'm doing this. I want to be free from my thinking. And if my thinking is upsetting me and putting me at war against whatever's going on in my reality, I need to look at it. I need to examine it. You know why? Because I want peace. I want to be back to myself. I want to be back to my clarity. I want to have access to my potential. And if I don't have access to all that and I'm just sitting there being mad and angry, yeah, it feels good for a few minutes, but sooner or later it comes back and, hits me. It bushwhacks me. I get hijacked into this. And I don't want to be a victim to circumstances. I want to be in charge of my life. I want my power back. Sweetheart, that's how we get our freedom. You want your power back. And I can hear that because what I hear behind this is you don't like not having your power and your
right.
way of doing things. And you're going to complain about it and you're going to be upset yourself because that's your proof. See how upset I am? That's my proof that this is wrong. But who gets to suffer? Now I'm the collateral damage of somebody else's behavior. I don't want to do that to me. I want me back, right? And I hear behind it all you do too. You want your freedom from those stressful, upsetting thoughts and the rebellion around it and being right about it. That's the other thing, our survival mind loves the most is being right about it. So, sweetheart, I would just suggest get your thoughts down. Take a look at them. Get your freedom back. This thing will run its course and it runs right over me. It runs over my health. It runs over. Now I'm cranky. And you think I'm not, that doesn't show up in my relationships. Now I get in a fight, right? With somebody or they're to blame. And I'm the victim here. And before long, I have now, from my one little upset, turned my world upside down and I can blame it on COVID-19. All right. You see how that works? Sweetie, I want your freedom back for you, just like I want it for myself. And when I disable myself and I start thinking that it's everybody else's fault and I'm blaming this and I'm blaming that, it feels good for about, a certain period of time, but I lose. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm the adult in the room. I don't want to do that to me. I deserve better than that. I want your precious life back. And maybe I can't change the circumstances, but I can change the way I respond to it. That's my freedom. Most precious thing I have. Yeah. Thank you, darling. I hope this has been helpful.
So much. Writing it down has been helpful.
Wonderful.
Julie, how are you feeling now?
I feel good. It's nice to hear, to write it down. I remember, is this true? What else could it mean? But like I say, when I'm in the moment of bitching, I don't think of getting out of it. I think of almost enjoying it. Like I must enjoy it. I keep doing it, right? So, but when I get out of it, I have to remember to go, is this true? It's not true. What else can it mean? Yes, I've done that. And then the feeling goes. And you move on. It's just,
Well, sweetheart, if you want your freedom, that's going to have to be your priority. I want my freedom. I still get angry and upset sometimes. I get, pissy. That's just it. I do. And then it's like, oh, but sooner or later it comes back and hits me from behind. I say things, I do things, I'm cranky, nobody wants to be with me, I'm complaining all the time, and I'm just self-sabotaging myself. And I need to see that. It's not kind. It's not loving. It's not who I am. Sweetheart, that's not who you are. You're a kind, loving human being who wants the world to work. Mm-hmm. And once in a while, we just get upset when it doesn't, and that's understandable, but I want to get myself back on track. That's why I love this work. All I have to do is write it down, ask some questions, turn it around. Oh, I've got my freedom back. I've got me back. Now I know where to go and what to do. And 10 minutes ago, I hadn't a clue.
And you just stop in the middle of your rant.
Well, it stops me, yes, when I do, and I realize that it's working against me. And when I turn it around, who is it that needs to be in control here? The government or me? I'm upset because I have to wear a mask. And who's upsetting me? The mask or my thinking? I'm manager of that. That is what determines my life. And if I want my life to work, I have to be conscious. I have to be aware.
I have to follow the rules.
You know why? Because you want what you want, and that's freedom. And that's freedom from upsetting yourself in the name of all these things that are happening that I don't have any say in at the moment. I can vote. There's some things I can do. But right now, I want to get through this in a place where I don't destroy myself in the process.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Well, you know, it's a pleasure, Joe. I'm glad you're coming here because there's nothing like a soul adventure. We have all these fabulous practitioners. We all have our different
Oh my God, they're the
things
best.
mastered.
They
And
are the best.
you get all of us, and you get to see whatever's going on from different points of view. But you know what? We all have one point of view here. We all want to connect with our soul and spirit. We want to be enlightened beings that are have life working for us instead of against us. That's it. That's what I want. And I have to realize I play a part in that. And Sedona Soul, there's nothing like Sedona Soul to get you clear. In 3 days, as I said, I was working at the counseling center before in Malibu. How long do you think it took us to be able to work with people? Months, years, sometimes never. And with Sedona Soul Adventures, is you get so much at one time.
Oh, I know.
You know, you got your freedom back, honey. That's why you're coming back. You know that.
It's amazing. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
Sedona.
that's what we want for you, honey.
Yeah,
And
Deb.
Ellen, I don't know if you can see this, Jolie, but everyone, a whole bunch of people are writing in the chat saying, I'm with you, Jolie. I love you, Jolie. And I know things are going to be better. I'm seeing that Jolie can move through this with that big, brilliant smile of hers and can
Thanks.
help the world with her brilliant, beautiful, brilliant smile.
Oh,
So
I love that.
and one of the tricks for me, and it's so interesting that you were talking about this, because this is the thing, the thought that I have going on too as a small business owner of, you know, please God, things have to turn around here. And I'm responsible for a lot of people and all of that. And so this is what I did. I wrote down almost the same exact thing that you wrote down. And this was so completely helpful. And I know for me, I just have to stop myself before I get into the rant. You know what I mean? It's much harder once we've started the rant.
yeah.
We have to, the one thing we have to do is grab ourselves as we're starting to not feel okay. And as we're starting to grouse a little bit, or as we're starting ourselves, as you said, going into that little bratty, the minute we start to feel it, if we can catch ourselves and then just sit and do it, it's kind of amazing what happens.
And the breath work, I really did the Sedona Soul Adventure to learn to heal through breath work. So I did a lot of breath work. So I will have to say that is the tool that helps me outside of gratitude, is phenomenal when I turn to my breath. So like I said, sometimes I like the rant and the rate, like I want to be in it times, but if I can focus on my breath, I can calm down and allow it to serve me in a way where I can catapult to positive outcome, because it's okay to be sad. I'm not sad if I'm sad. I just don't want to derail completely, obviously. So yes, the breath too. I have to just, and it's amazing. You just breathe.
And if you continue to do the breathwork session, if you don't have that music anymore, let me know. Okay.
You guys
right.
Me.
You have it?
Yes.
Okay.
An hour
So
long? Yes.
It's an hour and 20 minutes, but I'll tell you, if you do
I have it
that
on my phone.
Exactly. Do a
Yes.
breathwork session this week. That could really, really, really help you too, because it takes you to a different place. That's one of the reasons why it's a cornerstone of all the work that we do here. It's because it is. And, you know, it's really interesting that you should say that, because the work that we're doing here is, first of all, moving out the gunk and the blocks, which is what Sarah's work does, moving you out of the energy of I'm powerless, I'm helpless, I can't do anything, and switching you into the empowerment piece of, you know what, I control what I'm thinking, I control. And then the breath work is the next piece to really move you into that higher version of yourself, because the breath does that. And then you're finding, even with your own life, just stopping, taking a breath just makes such a huge difference.
Thanks to you guys. That's how from the Sedona Soul Adventure, the acknowledgement and the know-how of the different breathings. Yeah. Because you have different practitioners that teach different breath work. And I went
everything. Yes, we have over 50 practitioners, and they all do different work. And so and that's why we custom design the retreats, because everybody's stuff is different. What got you here is different. And so that's why everybody's retreat has to be different. So I think you're feeling better.
Good job. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love
Sarah.
I know you guys are lucky in Sedona, because that's an energy like, I don't even know if I'll be upset there. I'm just going there to, I mean, I don't get upset in Sedona.
Well, stuff still happens here. But the big thing is, as you said, we have a whole lot of tools. And I'll tell you, when I've got something that's going on that I can't get out of, I'm going to do a session with one of my practitioners. So I am so glad you're feeling better. Thank you so much for being so open and being so vulnerable and just, you know, showing us who you are. I just appreciate it so much. Thank you, Jolie.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're so
it.
welcome. Sarah, that was fabulous. Go ahead and keep talking.
Oh, I didn't know whether you were waiting for something else.
No, it's fine.
I love the work, and we didn't have a lot of time today in this process, but it saved me so many times. When I go into judgment and blame of myself or somebody else, I'll get it down on paper.
Yeah.
And I take a look at it, and then it turns me back around to it's me that needs. It's not the world that needs to change. It's not my partner that needs to change. It's always nice if they do, but since I don't have complete control over them, I can get my thinking lined up in a way where I step into that higher level of myself, and I find out I know what to do and where to go if I can move past that upset and the blame.
Well, and then the magical thing that happens very often is once you change, that somehow magically the other person changes. It's the strangest thing.
True. That's true. And Deborah,
that's why the work is so valuable for working with couples, because the thing that's happening is the one person is going into their connection, and then the other person is just following along. It's just kind of the most amazing thing.
Yeah, I love working with couples. I mean, the magic I see happening with them as they get clear about the fact of, you know, that they're in charge of their own thinking and they're free, instead of just blaming their partner. Now they have a window through which to see, wait a minute, if I change how I'm thinking, I get my power back. I'm not just dependent on somebody else's behavior taking my freedom away. That's what the key is for me.
Totally. Well, thank you so much. This was so fantastic. And we will post on the website with the recording the questions, and so that people have those. And so again, Thank you so much, Sarah. I just appreciate it so much. It was very, very, very wonderful.
No, thank you. I enjoyed so much being on this Masterclass series.
And so everybody, I want to make sure that you are with us next week. We're going to have another fantastic masterclass, Tina Provenzano, doing how to open to your intuition. Tina is an absolutely amazing intuitive and channel. And this is going to be really fun because she is really good at helping other people to connect in with their intuition. I believe we all have that. It's just a matter of opening to it and trusting it. And she is a master at helping people do that. And she's already told me she wants to work with a bunch of people next week. So hopefully that's one of the things that's going to be coming. So thank you so much for being with us. So many people talked today about what a wonderful soul adventure they had. So many people were chatting also about having such a wonderful soul adventure. So if that's something that you have not done, or if you'd like to do another one, because you're always going to the next level with these, go to sedonasouladventures.com/angel to speak to one of our angel guides about doing a retreat. They will dig deep with you to discover the blocks and the gunk that are holding you back from having the life of your dreams or the relationship of your dreams. And one of the things I always say is if you knew what could happen, you'd be calling us right now. So go on and do that and sign up to talk to an angel guide. And I'd love to see you here in Sedona because it will change your life. So I will see you, I hope, next week. Thank you so much for being with us today. Sending you so much love from Sedona.
Thank you.